Hello and welcome. It's Art Therapy Thursday. Today we're going to work on a little art project called Circle of Trust. This is a project that I do a lot, especially with people who are talking about stressful friendships, or not really knowing what to do with some boundaries and things like that. I'll show you the little demo I did for a client recently. Super high tech, right? This is really, it can be real low key, it can be real high tech, however you want to do it. You could probably even make it all digital and be super duper techy of it. You could do it on a piece of paper, you could do it with collage, you could do it digitally. What else could we do? Oh, we could use paints. All of those good things. Markers, crayons, colored pencils. You can get out the Post-it notes. But all you really need is something to write with and a piece of paper. And what you're going to do is draw, the concentric circles. So let me get a marker. I think that probably shows up more. And this inner circle is the core. This is you. You know everything there is to know about you. You know all your secrets, you know your stress points, you know your coping strategies, you know your opinions on everything, right? This next circle out would include the next group of people who know the most about you. Very likely parents might go here, God might go here, maybe a best friend would go in here, or a spouse. Pepper thinks that she deserves to go in that circle. All right, so then the next circle out is going to be that next group of people that know the most about you. The ones you trust the most, they're going to know a lot of secrets, but not as many pieces of you as the people in this circle. So these will be probably friends. I'm gonna put siblings here. Maybe some other family, maybe some extended family might be in this circle where you trust them. They would be safe people to go to in any kind of an emergency. And maybe I'll do this a little bit different. So this is still going to be you here. And this is going to be most trusted. Then the next one, these are going to be like very, very trusted. This next one would be, these would be, I'm just gonna put, what should I put here? Like this would be just your casual, well it'd be, let's see, maybe it would be friends, but more like casual. Okay, so like you get along with them. This is your get along with. Get along and like circle. Yeah, that's what those would be labeled, right? And then out here would be just your get along. Kind of more like you're civil with them. And these might be like coworkers. You don't really have anything against them, but you don't really want them to know everything there is about. You don't even want them to know necessarily even a lot about your life, just enough to kind of get by. And I'm just going to make 2 more today. You could make as many circles as you want on here. But the next one would be, okay, I guess I'm going to do 3 more. These would be like acquaintances. So like these are just like the nod Nod and smile, folks. And wave. Just give them a little hello when you see them. You really kind of know nothing about them except maybe their name and what they do for work, maybe, or what grade they're in, that kind of stuff. And then this last bit, I'm going to do these last two out here. I didn't get enough big enough piece of paper. This one, you're probably not really going to like. These are going to be your enemies. These are going to be the ones who've hurt you. Who hurt you or betrayed you or backstabbed you or actually did some harm intentionally to you. And then outside of that, those are the strangers. So you don't even know. Outside of here, it's just all, I don't know, even know these people. Who's outside there. And some people think I'm crazy for putting the enemy circle in, but it's important to know that we do distinguish between the people who have hurt us, the people we don't trust anymore, and the people we don't even know. Because at least we know we don't trust them. We know something about their character here. And as the strangers, the people we haven't even met yet, we don't know whether they can be trusted or not. So this outer ring, so the outside of the ring, people totally outside the circle. We'll just do a small one here. So if this is our circle of trust, these are all the unknown entities, right? So we know nothing. We might actually meet somebody from out here that could literally, we could learn just a few little things about them, and they're going to zoom right past the enemy circle into the casual circle. Like, I think they're trustworthy. You know, maybe we realize who they know, who else is friends with them, and they might zoom right into this, almost the innermost circle, super fast, because they sort of have references based on the other people in our lives who they know, or things that we've witnessed them do for work, or how they've handled the situation around us. So once you kind of know the different levels, and you might have very different levels, you might have only 3 levels, you might have 10 levels. That's the cool thing about the circle of trust, is you can personalize it however you want to. And you're going to want to ask yourself questions about what are the qualities that get somebody, that would qualify somebody to be on this circle or this circle. And this here, right now, I'm going to tell you the big turning point for all of my clients I've ever done this with. You can change where somebody is in the circle of trust. They might be your super trust. They might be your best friend. They might be right in here. And then they do something. And if you're raised to, we have to forgive and be nice, which are good qualities, don't get me wrong here. But once somebody has done something to break trust, they deserve to go out a layer. And we don't have to keep them in here. And when they've been moved out a layer, let me find a different color here. You guys see hot pink? So if they've done something that requires us to move them out a layer, or 2, or 4, they probably don't go back to the nod, smile, and wave section. They might end up going right out to the ones who've hurt us. People can go from this innermost one, they can go right straight out to here if they have hurt us significantly. So for some people, that would be somebody who's molested them, somebody who's stolen their money, somebody who's spread a horrible rumor that's not true about them. I'm sure you can imagine, I'm sure you have people in your life who've gone at least from this circle or this circle all the way straight out to somebody who's really hurt you badly. Forgiveness does nothing to move them in a layer. That's an important thing. Forgiveness has nothing to do with moving them in. Forgiveness has everything to do with freeing you from that situation that hurt you and moving you towards healing. But there are things, reconciliation is the stuff that could move them in. Reconciliation, them doing things to prove that they are trustworthy and safe again. Okay, so I hope that is making sense. If you guys have questions, let me know. But I thought it might be kind of fun to do a collage with you real quick. I'll do it real simply. And I'm using just different household items to trace different circles on here. I really liked this squirrel, or maybe it's a chipmunk. Maybe it's a chipmunk on this person's head. I'm sure everybody's done some tracing in their life. It's kind of interesting as you go about this to think about who would be those people in your life that would go in each circle. What are the characteristics that you look for in people on each circle? And maybe when you make your circles here, your circle of trust, maybe you don't actually write the person's name anywhere. Maybe you want to write the characteristics, the qualities that are important to you and that would signify when someone is changing levels in your life. And that can mean, again, that can mean in towards more trustworthy. They get more of your confidences. You go to them more for help. You would trust them to talk through a problem. They would be the safer people to talk about, controversial topics as well. So I'm just going to start with that, and I'm going to have to work more on what my circles look like. But you could take letters, and maybe that's what I will, to create another. This is going to be my second circle. You could put people's names in the circles. You could put those character traits in the circles. And then you could also even have like a secondary circle in between every circle. All right, let me show you on this other piece of paper what I am trying to say right there. Okay, so you have you safe in here, and then maybe I'm going to put a layer to signify boundaries. And then I'm going to have a layer where I write about the characteristics of people that would be just outside that boundary. So maybe you want to write what some of those boundaries might look like that separate these different groups of people in your life. For instance, maybe one of the boundaries is you only talk to them on the phone. Maybe a boundary is you never spend time one-on-one behind a closed door with them. Maybe a boundary is you only tell them the newspaper edition of the event in your life, because you're still sort of testing them to see if they're going to tell everybody about that, or if they're going to hold a secret. And by secret, I don't mean a bad secret, but sometimes there's just things we don't want everybody to know about ourselves. You can test people, and you can see what they'll do with part of the story, part of your opinion. You don't have to give them all the details, because if we don't know that their character qualifies them to be on one of these two circles here, the the most trusted, like you can tell them anything and you know that information is going nowhere. Like they're not even going to tell their best friend or their spouse. They're going to hold it right there between you and them. But if you're not sure that somebody can qualify yet for this circle out here, you just want to give them part of the story. Maybe somebody in one of these letters, you're going to just tell part of the story. I am so irritated at my boss. You wouldn't believe what happened at work today. So stressful. Maybe that's all the story they get. And then you see, if you tell nobody else that you had a bad day at work or something, wait a few days. Does anybody ask you if you had a bad day? Or, oh, I heard you had a really bad day on Thursday. You're like, wait a second, I didn't tell you I had a bad day on Thursday. I only told so-and-so that. Well, now you know so-and-so can't even be trusted to hold that bit in confidence. So-and-so over there is not going to get any more details ever again. Besides, I had a frustrating day. But if nobody knew that, then you might say, well, that person, they can move in a level, and I'm going to give them a little bit more information. I'm going to tell them why I'm frustrated with my boss, or why I had a bad day at work, or why I'm truly late to the meeting. You know, things like that. I hope that's making sense. Do you guys have any questions? Does anybody have any ideas for how they figure out who deserves in their lives to be on that inner circle of trust in their lives? How do you guys determine and set up those boundaries so that the people that you hold closest to you, that get the most confidence, the ones who are your confidants when something bad goes on around your life, someone you seek advice from? Because that would be another thing. In these two circles, you might really respect how they handle situations in life, and so you'll go to them for advice when you're struggling and don't really know how to handle a situation. You want to do it well. You're going to bounce ideas like that off of them. You are not going to bounce ideas like that off of any of these outer circles. Not even the ones that you just kind of like and have a lot of fun with. These are great people to have in your life, but you're not going to go to them with a situation that is a little touchy or really means a ton to you. You're not going to go to them and ask them for advice about that, but you will go to these people in these circles. You'll go to them for that. And there's value to having each one of these levels. They're not necessarily bad. You need to know where people go so that you feel like you've got a little autonomy. You have a little power, and you can protect yourself because you can determine, based on other people's actions and words and how they live their life, you can determine who gets to come close to you and, you know, who needs to stay a little bit away. And just because you keep somebody in one of these middle circles doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that right now, at least, they're not the people that you want closest to you. And they're a little fluid, but there are, like I said, there are boundaries that keep them in their circle for right now, and that might be how they talk to you. Anyway, a little fuel for thought. Hope it sparks some ideas for you. It's a really great exercise to work on with kids. I mean, it's super. I have adult clients who have found this exercise super powerful, but it's also a really great tool when you're working with kids who don't quite understand this idea of, wait, how do I know if I can trust somebody? What do I do with all these people in my life, these strangers? I don't know if I can trust them? Who do I get in the car with? Who do I accept rides from? Who do I take candy from? So think about different ways that you protect yourself. I'm gonna make a collage because I'm kind of inspired by this chipmunk. And I hope you'll do something for yourself or with people in your life who maybe need some help figuring out what to do with all these demands on them, and who are they going to give time and energy to, and who are they going to let in to those inner circles, that inner circle of trust around. So have a great night and a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.